I went from 5 cans of Maltina every day to 5 apples every day, and this is how I did it. Alright, so how did it happen? I used this principle. You don't change habits, you replace habits. So what did I want to replace it with? So one day the Holy Spirit just suggested to me that why don't you start taking 1 apple before you binge on your malt? Just start taking 1 apple alone. So I started. I'll take 1 apple before binging on my malt. So it became a habit. 1 apple, then binge on my malt. 1 apple, then binge on my malt. But gradually, I noticed that as I continued taking 1 apple, I was taking less malt. So it went from 1 apple to 5 cans of malt to 1 apple to 4 cans of malt. And then the Holy Spirit suggested to me, why don't you add more of apples? So start taking maybe like 2 apples. So I went from 1 apple a day to 2 apples a day. And as I continued, I noticed that I started taking just about 3 cans of malt every day. So I went from 5 cans of malt to 2 cans of malt every day. And then, of course, I saw that, man, this thing is working. There was now motivation to grow in it. So the people just said, why don't you add 1 more apple? So I noticed I started taking 3 apples every day. And I noticed that as I took apples, the more of apples I was taking, the less of malt I felt like consuming. So I went from 3 apples a day to now just 2 cans. I went from 3 cans of malt to 2 cans. And then I found my formula and I continued. I added 1 more apple to it, 4 apples. And then I was taking just 1 can of malt a day. And then I went from 4 to 5, and I went from 5 apples every day to no malt at all. And that was how I was able to break free from my addiction to carbonated soft drinks, malt to be specific.